Welcome to the ASTRALX Deep Dive, Illuminating Your Path. I'm Lunaria, Selene, your intuitive guide.
And I'm Solarian Zephyr, your cosmic strategist.
We bridge celestial wisdom,
Unlock your modern past.
discover guiding starlight insights.
Explore powerful cosmic energies.
How do planetary transits shape your story today? So for this deep dive, we're really getting into some fascinating source material. It's all focused on 2025, specifically for you if you have that Libra Sun and Libra Rising placement.
That's right. And the material we've looked at frames this whole year with a really evocative archetype, the Justice Dancer.
The Justice Dancer, I love that. So this session, it's drawing entirely from those sources, right? Tailored for this specific Libra signature, especially women, it seems.
Exactly. And it's not just about, dates and planets and signs. It really talks in archetypes. It explores how these unique cosmic configurations in 2025 are meant to interact with your very core.
Your core, like communication, relationships.
Yeah, communication, relationships, definitely. But also your deeper beliefs, your personal philosophy, and even, well, your sense of self, your identity.
And the central theme that jumped out at me from the source, it's this idea of balance, but it's not passive. It's like a dynamic balance.
Yes, exactly. It calls for embodying grace and justice at the same time, which pushes you towards this really radical authenticity.
Radical authenticity. So navigating your personal integrity, your truth, especially when the world feels so shifty.
Perfectly put. The material presents it almost like a divine mandate for the year. It's an active role you're being called into.
Okay, let's talk about that role. The source gives it this name, this archetype, the Justice Dancer. Can you unpack that a bit more? What does the source mean by that?
Absolutely. So the core archetype described is this blend, Themis Hathor.
Themis Hathor, okay.
Right. The source links Themis, the Greek goddess of divine law and order, to the Libra rising aspect. That's the divine arbiter part.
The judge, the balancer. Makes sense for Libra rising.
And then Hathor, the Egyptian goddess, connected with joy, dance, love, embodies the heart of the cosmic dancer. And that's linked to the Libra sun.
Wow, so it's law and joy, justice and dance. That's quite a combination.
It really is. The source says you become the living treaty through this. Justice becomes art. Diplomacy becomes devotion. It's beautifully phrased.
The living treaty.
Yeah. Your presence itself is described as both the courtroom and the ballroom. Your soul, the eternal equinox, but an active one.
That's a powerful image to hold. So, okay, why 2025? Why is this the year for the Justice Dancer? What cosmic forces are actually making this happen, according to the source?
Good question. The source explains that 2025 activates what it calls a cosmic courtroom, specifically for you, for this double Libra signature. It's driven by some key planetary transits interacting with that energy.
A cosmic courtroom.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into the specifics. Which transits are highlighted? What about Pluto? That always feels significant.
Definitely. Pluto's moving through Aquarius, and the source places that in your third house. Communication, perception, your immediate environment, that whole area.
Right. And what's the effect described?
The source describes it as basically revolutionizing how you think and communicate. It uses this intense phrase, quantum disruptions in your mental matrix.
Whoa, quantum disruptions in your mental matrix. What does that actually mean in practice? Sounds like sci-fi.
It does sound dramatic,
Yeah.
but I think what the source is getting at is deep, sudden, maybe even jarring shifts in your fundamental thought patterns. How you process information, how you talk about things.
This is shaking up my basic understanding.
Kind of. Shaking up the framework, the matrix. It says Pluto here is meant to shatter superficial discourse. Small talk, glossing over things, polite untruths. Pluto in the third is making you deeply intolerant of that, pushing for deeper truths.
Okay, so less surface talk, more substance. How does that intense Pluto energy interact with having both the sun and rising in Libra?
Well, the source calls that your double Libra luminescence, activating your first house self identity and your seventh house relationships, partnerships.
Luminescence. Like it's lighting something up.
Yeah, amplifying your capacity for what the source calls relational alchemy.
Relational alchemy, like transforming relationships.
Exactly. Turning, lead into gold.
Hmm.
Transforming conflict or superficiality into real, authentic connection. The source says this creates relational coherence fields around you.
Coherence fields, like an energy field demanding truth.
Kind of, yeah. It's like your presence itself starts demanding alignment, truth, authenticity. Not just from you, but from others you interact with. It's described as a radical demand. You might just find yourself repelled by fakeness, or drawing truth out of people without trying.
Okay, so Pluto's disrupting superficial thinking, and my Libra nature is demanding truth in relationships. That sounds like potential friction right there.
It definitely sets up a dynamic tension, and then you add Saturn into the mix.
Right, Saturn's in Pisces,
Yeah.
which the source puts in the ninth house.
Yes. The ninth house, higher learning, belief systems, philosophy, long journeys. Saturn, the planet of structure and reality checks, moving through watery, boundary-dissolving Pisces there. The source says it's dissolving outdated belief systems.
Dissolving them in, what was the phrase? Karmic waters.
That's the one. Poetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests it's about those deep-seated philosophies, maybe inherited stuff, dogma, that just doesn't align with your truth anymore.
So Saturn's testing my whole belief structure.
Testing and refining it. The source describes Saturn here as a moral prism, bending rigid dogma into something more fluid, more compassionate, more genuinely ethical, based on your lived experience, not just rules you were taught.
Wow. Okay, so mind disrupted, relationships demanding truth, beliefs dissolving and reforming. And the source mentioned Mars getting involved too later in the year.
Yes, Mars. Action, assertion, even conflict. It moves into Libra from October 17th to December 9th. This is flagged as a really key period.
Mars in Libra, isn't that usually considered a bit less direct?
It can be, but the source uses really powerful language here. It says Mars will be weaponizing your diplomacy. It will arm your elegance.
Arm your elegance. I like that. It's not about being aggressive then.
Not aggressive, no. It's about injecting that Martian assertive energy into your natural Libra skills. Using your grace, your fairness, not just to smooth things over, but to actively assert your truth. To set clear, just boundaries. Taking action based on that refined sense of justice Saturn's helping you build.
Okay, that makes sense. And there was one more piece, Venus retrograde in Leo.
Right, July 22nd to September 7th. And since Venus rules Libra, this is significant. Venus in Leo is about loving yourself, valuing yourself, expressing yourself.
So a retrograde there. What does the source say it does?
It frames it as identity trials, where that Leo self-love energy basically puts people-pleasing on trial.
So my need to value myself confronts my tendency to maybe accommodate too much.
Exactly that. It forces a confrontation with where you might compromise your own needs, your own truth, for external approval, or just to avoid rocking the boat. It's an internal check, whose validation matters most.
So putting all these pieces together, the Pluto disruption, the Libra demand for truth, Saturn's belief test, Mars arming elegance, Venus prosecuting people-pleasing. The source mentions harmonic dissonance. What's that about?
It's basically saying these powerful energies aren't all singing in perfect harmony right away. There's tension. Like, how do you disrupt superficial talk, Pluto, while also creating relational harmony, Libra? How do you assert yourself, Mars, while maintaining grace?
Right. They seem conflicting.
They can feel that way. The source suggests Saturn in Pisces is the key to navigating this dissonance. It acts like your evolving moral compass, helping you find a way to hold these tensions, to integrate them into a more authentic, fluid way of being. It's not about choosing one over the other, but finding the dynamic balance between them.
This sounds like it would really be felt, not just thought about. Does the source get into that, like physical manifestations?
Oh, absolutely. It dives right into somatic astrology. The idea that your body becomes, as the source puts it, the diplomatic battleground.
Diplomatic battleground. Wow. How so?
Well, because Libra energy relates so strongly to the body's sense of balance and equilibrium, these intense challenges to your inner and outer balance are expected to show up physically. The source gives some really specific examples.
Like what kind of examples?
Okay, so for that double Libra activation demanding authenticity, it suggests you might feel like actual electric tingles along your collarbones when you witness injustice or when you're compromising.
Tingles. Interesting.
Yeah, or feeling literally nauseous when you feel like you have to maintain a false sense of peace. Your body's basically screaming, this isn't aligned.
That's very direct feedback. What about Pluto in the third, shaking up communication?
The source links that to jaw tension. Clenching your jaw when you're holding back words that Pluto is pushing you to say.
I can imagine that.
And conversely, when you have those mental breakthroughs or finally speak a difficult truth, you might feel scalp prickles, like an energetic release or confirmation.
And Saturn in the ninth, testing beliefs. How does that show up physically?
That's described as maybe feeling a heaviness in your temples during ideological conflicts when your core beliefs are really being challenged. Or, and I found this one quite evocative, getting cold feet literally when you feel you're about to compromise your integrity. like your body is physically hesitant to move forward on shaky ethical ground.
It's like your body becomes the ultimate truth teller in this process. Did the source suggest ways to work with these feelings?
Yes, it offers some somatic prompts, things like using specific crystals, rose quartz for harmony, lapis lazuli for truth placed on the body, or chewing raw ginger apparently for clarity. Even simple things like walking barefoot to ground yourself when dealing with those big Saturnian philosophical shifts.
Using the physical to help navigate the energetic. Okay. Now, to make this even more tangible, the source brings in some historical and cultural examples, right?
It does, yeah. To illustrate these themes, a key historical figure mentioned is Eleanor Roosevelt.
Ah, another Libra, Sun Libra rising.
Exactly. The source talks about her work at the UN, calling it diplomatic ballets, using grace and strategy to make real change.
Diplomatic ballets, I like that.
And the source draws a direct parallel, saying that, like her, in 2025, you're being called to prosecute false peace.
Prosecute false peace. Wow, that really flips the script on the passive peacekeeper idea.
It does. It implies actively dismantling peace that's built on lies or avoidance to get to something real. It's not just about harmony. It's about just harmony.
Okay, and culturally, what other images did the source use?
Wonder Woman's lasso of truth was one.
Ah, compelling honesty through, like, a loving force, not aggression.
Precisely. Your very presence compelling truth. Cinematically, the source said it's like the Queen's Gambit meets Legally Blonde.
Okay, I can picture that. Strategic brilliance meets underestimated elegance and strong ethics.
Exactly. Weaponizing your intelligence and charm for a just cause.
Mm.
And musically, HER's song Damage, described as velvet vocals delivering hard truths.
That really captures the Justice Dancer vibe. Smooth delivery, but the message has weight, maybe even a sting.
Perfectly said. These aren't just random comparisons. They're meant to give you a feel for this complex energy in action.
So we have the archetype, the transits, the body signals, the cultural echoes. How does the source suggest you actively work with all this in 2025? You mentioned interactive elements.
Yes, concrete suggestions. One is simple: pause and reflect, especially around the Libra new moon on October 2nd. That's a key reset point for identity and relationships.
And what should you reflect on then? Any specific questions?
The source offers some really potent ones, like, what polite lie exhausts my spirit? Gets right to the cost of inauthenticity, doesn't it?
It really does.
And another, what righteous confrontation would liberate my grace? Which challenges that idea that confrontation is inherently ungraceful. Sometimes it's the most graceful thing you can do.
Liberate your grace. I like that framing. Did it offer more structured practices?
Yes, a specific ritual blueprint. It's called the Sword Scale Ceremony, recommended for the waning moon in Libra, end of September, leading into that new moon.
Sword and scale. Sounds very fitting for the Justice Dancer.
Very. It involves using an actual scale. A blade obsidian was suggested for truth and rosewater for harmony. The core idea is balancing the blade against the rosewater while affirming truth weighs more than comfort.
Wow. A symbolic act to internalize prioritizing truth, even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. Acknowledging its weight on your inner scales. And there was also an embodiment practice mentioned.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
It's called poised fury breathwork, designed to integrate the grace and the fierceness.
Poised fury.
Okay, it involves holding an arabesque pose, balancing on one leg, embodying grace. While doing that, you inhale justice up your spine, feel fire gathering in your solar plexus, then exhale forcefully through your fingertips, affirming, my elegance is my edge.
That sounds intense, connecting the physical poise with that inner fire and assertion.
Exactly. It's about feeling the energy, not just thinking about it, directing it intentionally.
So as 2025 unfolds, the source doesn't just describe the energy, it actually outlines different potential outcomes, right? Like verdicts of destiny.
Yes, 3 potential paths, depending on the choices you make and in embodying this Justice Dancer energy. Path 1 is called the Sovereign Arbiter.
Sovereign Arbiter, what does that look like?
This is the path if you really lean into the Pluto truth-telling and the Mars assertiveness. The source suggests you might actually create something tangible, like an ethical conflict resolution platform, or lead a movement, using your skills for revolutionary harmony.
Weaponizing harmony for revolution, and the breakthrough there
is that Pluto's demolition of small talk actually gives birth to something positive, like radical truth-telling salons. And your Mars energy empowers you to teach others compassionate confrontation, sharing the skills.
That sounds incredibly generative. What's path 2?
Path 2 is the warning, the martyr mirror. This is if you fall back into prioritizing everyone else's comfort over your own truth, people-pleasing taking over.
The martyr mirror? and the consequences.
The source is quite blunt here. Physically, autoimmune flares from swallowed truths. Emotionally, confusing niceness with actual integrity. Saturn's ninth house transit because a crisis of faith when people-pleasing implodes. And physically, maybe chronic TMJ from clenching down on what needs to be said.
Oof. A clear picture of the cost of not stepping up. Okay, what's path 3?
Path 3 is the graceful gladiator. This is about successfully blending that third house communication clarity with this seventh house relationship focus, using your voice effectively.
Graceful gladiator. Manifestation.
Maybe creating a viral movement around diplomatic combat, teaching elegant boundary setting. The source even suggests a potential revelation moment, like giving a TED Talk on the violence of niceness that resonates widely, especially around that Mercury and Libra time in the fall.
Using your Libra communication skills to illuminate the harm in false peace. Okay, these paths really highlight the choices involved. So wrapping it all up, what's the final takeaway? The core mandate from the source for 2025.
It brings it all together powerfully. It reframes potential Libra weaknesses as strengths. Your double Libra isn't indecision, it's divine calibration. Finding true alignment.
Divine calibration.
Nice. Pluto in the third isn't just destructive, it's detonating chambers of polite lies to make space for real connection. The discomfort is necessary.
Breakdown is breakthrough.
Exactly. And Saturn in the ninth. Your scales need to be scales of justice, not just measuring cups for others' comfort. Weighing truth, not just appeasing.
That justice versus comfort distinction feels central.
It is, and it circles back to Mars in October. Arm your elegance, prepared to duel with dignity, stand firm with integrity, and then that really striking final image.
The one about the rose?
Yes. The fairest roses guard their thorns most fiercely. Let your grace draw blood when necessary.
Let your grace draw blood when necessary. That encapsulates the justice answer perfectly, doesn't it? Beauty and radiance, but with a fierce protective edge when truth demands it.
It's about fierce love, fierce integrity. The source gives 2 affirmations as a sovereignty code to anchor this. I balance with ferocity. I harmonize with integrity.
Balance with ferocity, harmonize with integrity. Powerful. And there is a final cosmic note about the solar eclipse in Libra.
Right, October 2nd. Same day as the new moon. The source calls it an identity reboot. Coming after the Venus retrograde trials, it solidifies that new, authentic self. The advice is crucial. Enter new partnerships after this eclipse as your own chief witness, trusting your inner truth above all.
Your own chief witness. Okay, so as our deep dive concludes, let's really sit with that challenging idea from the source. Let your grace draw blood when necessary.
Yeah, it really pushes against our usual ideas of grace, doesn't it? It suggests real harmony sometimes requires disruption, requires a clarity that might feel sharp. It asks you, what does it mean for your elegance, your diplomacy, to have that fused edge? How do you wield that protective sharpness with love and integrity this year? Something to really ponder.
As our cosmic journey concludes,
dive deeper into your unique path.
Request your email audio reading now. Find the link in the description below.
Explore episode resources and links.
All details are waiting for you there.
Ignite. Think. Become.
Subscribe for Starlight Insights. Thank you for joining us.